Hey guys, Opie here. Welcome back to my Brew City Garden. Hey, thanks for joining me again today. It's July 12th. It's about 78 degrees or so. It really is a beautiful day. It's a little bit overcast, so it's a nice day to be sitting outside. And while I have a little bit of time today, I just wanted to cover a couple of things. Today I want to take a look at my tomatoes, and we're going to look at my carrots today. Yes, I've got carrots. Thank goodness, finally. And a reason why I want to talk about tomatoes and carrots specifically is because if there's ever two garden plants that grow well together, it's going to be your tomatoes and your carrots. They don't interfere with each other, and the tomatoes will actually kind of help shade out the carrots a little bit and help retain that little bit of moisture at the base of the tomato plant, which really helps with the germination and the overall growth of your carrots. They don't compete with each other whatsoever, and it's just a nice little relationship between the two plants. So let's go take a look, and we'll cover a couple other little things while we're out here too. All right, guys, let's go. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with tomatoes, and this is across the board with any gardening style, they're heavy feeders. They're hungry. You really have to feed tomatoes. Otherwise, you'll start noticing, slower growth, pale foliage, and you won't get quite the harvest that you're looking for. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to feed your tomatoes. And in the straw bales particularly that like to, or I should say tend to leach nutrients faster than a traditional garden would, don't be afraid to feed these things up. Now there's several ways to go about that. As you know, I use a granular fertilizer across the bales, and I'll apply that every 3 or 4 weeks. If I start noticing deficiencies, I can come back and add nutrient to the bales if needed, or you can also foliar feed. The beautiful thing about plants is they will uptake nutrients through their foliage, and it's actually a really good way to get nutrients into those plants quickly. If your plants look like they're suffering and they're hungry, and you foliar feed, preferably at night, that's usually the best time to do it, and to feed with the spray on the undersides of the leaves. That's going to be the most effective way to do it. And you can go from deficiency to a healthy growing plant in just a matter of days using the foliar feeding method. And I will come back and I will do that probably later this week. Another issue that you tend to have with tomatoes, a lot of people I see post pictures on the internet and they're asking, what's going on with my fruits? And if you look at the tomato on the underside, there's a big brown patch and it looks like tomatoes is starting to rot. That is actually blossom end rot. And it's just a calcium deficiency. Now, of course, you could come back and add calcium to your bales via crushed eggshells or some other calcium supplement. But chances are there's not a deficiency of calcium in your bales or in your soil. Chances are it's a watering issue. If you don't water consistently, those plants can't uptake the calcium that's already in the soil. So you'll end up with a deficiency, and that's where watering is so important, especially with tomato plants. You really don't want to underwater your plants for fear of course, just stressing the plant out, and for fear of ruining your fruits due to blossom end rot. Now, as you know, in my bale setup, I use this drip irrigation line, which works really well. I've got these set up on a timer, and these lines run 4 times a day for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. And what that does is provide just even consistent watering throughout the day. And at no point during the daytime are my plants stressed because they have a constant supply of water. But even so, I still notice occasionally I'll get some blossom end rot. And I picked up a calcium magnesium supplement, better known as CalMag, that I'll start applying to these plants probably this weekend. We've got a lot of flowers, and I'm beginning to see fruit set. So we'll go ahead and start applying that calcium magnesium supplement as a foliar feed, like I said, beginning probably this weekend. So probably the most important thing you can do for your tomato plants is make sure that there's plenty of airflow through the plants. And how we want to do that is, first we're going to limit the growth of branches or suckers, and also we want to trim the lower leaves. Any leaves that are touching the ground are going to be far more susceptible to pest damage, and they're also going to be more susceptible to funguses and blight. So we really want to remove any of these lower leaves. It's not going to hurt the plant whatsoever. In fact, it's going to help the plant out in the long run. We'll just clip that out of there. Any of these leaves touching the ground, or touching the bale, I should say, if you're growing in ground. Any leaves that touch the ground, you can just pluck some of these off. And another thing you want to do is limit the number of suckers. Now, this isn't always the case. The only time I trim suckers is with indeterminate plants. And these are the plants that are going to keep growing and growing throughout the entire season and produce fruit throughout the entire season. Now, if you're new to growing tomatoes and you hear the term trimming suckers, when I speak about suckers, I'm not talking about gardeners that pay an extra $3 a pack for organic seeds. No, I'm talking about tomato suckers. And what a sucker is, if you notice this leaf stem coming off the main stem, which is healthy, it's normal, it's just what we want. And then you got the main stem. What's going to happen is a new branch will begin to grow right here out of that node. And this will become a whole new branch. And eventually this new branch will have suckers on it and produce more branches, and so on and so forth. And that could go on for as long as the plant's alive. Now, what that's going to do is typically it will reduce your yields because the plant is putting so much energy into growing suckers, and you're not going to get quite as many tomatoes. And you also might find that you're getting smaller tomatoes. Now, I like to have 3 or 4 nice healthy branches on each indeterminate tomato plant. So I'll just come through, trim those out. And I've already got 1, 2, 3. This could be a 4th branch, but we're gonna get rid of it. And the plant splits up here. We'll go ahead and leave that. This plant looks pretty good. Just get a couple more of these lower leaves trimmed out. You don't have to do this, guys. It's not absolutely necessary. You can grow your tomato plants any way you want. You're gonna get a harvest, and they're gonna be delicious. But these are just some care tips that might help you out, especially if you have hot, humid summers. It might save you from certain pests and diseases. Now, my tomatoes went in a little bit late this year, so I mean, they look great. If you look, they're really nice and healthy. They're just a little bit shorter than what I would normally have at this time of year. But you can't control the weather, so that's just kind of how it goes. But what I want to show you here is, even though this particular plant is very healthy, it's very nice looking, it's got blossoms on it, it's just a beautiful plant. If we come down and look at these lower leaves that are touching the bale, this is exactly what I'm talking about. These leaves are getting eaten by pests. And that's just because they're touching the bales, and it's just easy access. So this is the kind of things we want to trim up. Not only are pests eating it, but it's also leaving these wounds in the leaves susceptible to disease. So we just trim these off. It's going to help with airflow anyway. Now that we've got this tomato trimmed up, it looks much better, and overall it's going to be much healthier. All right, so as far as carrots are concerned, really there's not a whole lot to carrots. Once you get them to germinate, which is probably the toughest thing to do, Once you get that figured out, there's very little maintenance. If anything, you want to come through and perhaps thin them out a little bit. And to be honest with you, there's been years where I neglected to thin my carrots, and it really didn't make any difference at all. So, yeah, it probably helps a little bit, but not absolutely necessary. Sometimes I tend to forget. But really, I think the main reason why I brought up the carrots, of course, carrots and tomatoes really do grow very well together. And don't be afraid to plant carrots at the base of your tomato plants. As long as they're not competing for water, as long as you're watering properly, these two are gonna grow great together. Really, the main reason why I brought up these carrots is because I'm super excited. I got carrots. Hey, but you know, gardeners are funny people, right? So behind me here is my tomato bucket system. And comparatively, these plants are a bit larger than the plants that are in the bales. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I planted these out a week earlier. So they got a jump start on the season. Number two, these plants directly behind me, these are cherry tomatoes. And they just tend to grow much wilder than a standard, say, beefsteak or something along those lines. Which I do have some over on the other side, and they're not quite as large as these. So they're not all this big. Another reason why these tomatoes are so much larger is because the tomatoes in the bales, as long as I feed them and the watering system works, I really don't have to do anything with them, just watch for blossom end rot and some trimming. So I kind of maybe neglect those. I wouldn't say neglect them, but I don't have to worry about them as much. These tomatoes behind me are growing in 5-gallon buckets, and they really require a lot of attention from me, otherwise they're gonna die. So I tend to give these tomatoes a lot more attention than I give the tomatoes in the bales, and it's kind of reflective in their growth, and it'll also be reflective probably in their production. These are my go-to tomatoes. They're gonna be my canning tomatoes, tomatoes that I put up and freeze. So this is where I really want to get my main harvest of tomatoes for the season throughout the winter. And the bales are more kind of my experiment, my play around, kind of forget about type tomatoes. So if you notice a difference in size, that's the only reason why. And you know what? I encourage you to do your own experimentation. There are so many different methods of growing besides plugging a plant in the ground or pushing a seed into the ground. You can have a lot more fun than that in the garden. You just play around, look around on the internet. There's so many ideas and so many cool people doing cool things with their plants. Don't be afraid to experiment a little bit and spice up your garden life. Spice up your garden life a little bit. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Maybe I get too excited being in the garden, but you know what? I love it. This is my release from life, I suppose. And we make some really good friends doing it too, so there you go. Okay guys, so thanks again for joining me here today at the Brew City Garden. As you can see, everything's looking good, and I hope those little tips or just that little bit of knowledge about the tomatoes and perhaps the carrots were at least a little bit helpful. If you've got any other questions regarding the tomatoes or anything else for that matter, leave them down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And if I don't know the answer to it, well, that's just an opportunity to learn something new. So don't be afraid to leave your questions down below, and we'll certainly get to them. We've got a lot of friends in the gardening community. If you don't know, there's a page called Straw Bale Gardening the Australian Way. And it's a really neat page, and I'd like to encourage my friends in the Northern Hemisphere, in the US and the UK, don't forget about the land down under, because when it's cold winter and snow all over the ground here, it's their summertime down there. So if you need your gardening fix, that's the place to go, right? Not to mention she's been a really cool friend to me, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate the feedback that I get from everybody. There's a lot of great people in the gardening community, and it just really warms my heart. It makes me feel good, and know that we're helping each other out, and it's just a cool community, and everybody's got a lot of different ideas. So it's a lot of fun. So just to wrap it up, so yeah, I know tomatoes can sometimes seem a little bit daunting, but really just make sure they're fed, make sure they're watered, make sure they're trimmed up, and watch for disease and pests. Really, it's as simple as that, and it's really no different from any other garden plant that you might have in your allotment. Now, as far as how much do I water my bales, of course, I've got the drip set up. So, without actually measuring out exactly how much I'm putting into the bales, a good guide to follow is 1 gallon or about 4 liters per day. It's really all you need. Now, if the temperatures are higher than what is comfortable for you, and you think that it's probably higher than what's comfortable for your tomato plants, you can go ahead and add maybe 50% more or 100% more and split those up throughout the day. If you're watering during the daytime, try to keep the water off of the leaves. Um, but otherwise, as long as you're following that 1 gallon or about 4 liters per day, your garden should be happy. So it's just about time for me to wrap it up here. And I could really keep going all day. There's so many things that I want to show you, but you know what? You're just going to have to stay tuned. And I'll try to get to everything throughout the season, and I'll cover as much as I can. Now, don't forget, I did start a new page on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at Bruce City Gardener. And when I'm just getting ready, when I get some time, probably this weekend, we'll start a group so that we could really start interacting with each other. Man, I can't wait to see that. It's going to be so much fun, especially in the winter time with my Aussie friends. They can really help us out and keep us motivated throughout the winter time. We tend to forget about the garden and all the preparations during the long cold winters. So it'll be nice to see their gardens running and kind of help keep me on track and keep us on track for our next season. Hey, if you like this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Give me a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. That way you can follow me throughout the season and for the years to come. And if you've got a friend out there that you think might enjoy this, share it with them. You know what? That's going to help me out a lot. All right, guys, it's time for me to get out of here. You have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, we'll see you.